folks, and welcome to episode 3 of Lasagnage Grammar in English for English speakers. And today we are going to start talking about building sentences in Lasagnage. So the first thing to note is that we don't really have words like there are in English. We've got syllables, and each syllable has a meaning. Some of the syllables we discussed last time, which show types of what the parts of speech basically, but all morphemes have some sort of meaning that when connected with others can describe more complex meanings. So just for a quick example, teb is our morpheme for society. It encompasses the ideas of society. If you have like an adjective, it's organized or societal, and if you make it a verb, it's like to be organized. But on its own, it doesn't mean a whole heck of a much. And then we have the word din. Din means earth or ground or geographical area. But tebdin together means city. It's like organized earth or, society earth. You can think of it as a part of earth that is societalized, like a city or an organized community. And that is how almost all of our words work. They are not words per se, they are a bunch of little syllables that added together make up bigger, more complex meanings. But if you want to start looking at sentence sizes, you will have 3 bigger chunks of syllables, which could also be kind of words if you want to think of it that way. But there are basically 3 parts to a sentence. You've got the subject chunk, the verb, and the direct object. And these, of course, can have more stuff added to them. So, for instance, you have to have adjectives with your direct object and your subject. Your subject also has the modal verbs. Verbs can have adverbs, and they can have indirect objects and tenses and prepositions, and all of these together make up the writing system of Lasagnage. So it's kind of hard to explain, but let's take some English sentences, change them into Lasagnage, and then you can kind of see where that comes from. So we could start with a fairly simple phrase. I love the city. Now if you want to take that phrase and change it, it's fairly simple to do. So if you're looking for your subject here is I. Actually, let's do that in a different color. Subject here is I. I doesn't have any modal verbs. It's not like I can love the city or I should love the city. There's no adjectives. So I is our only thing in the first chunk of text, and in Lasagnage that is z. Then you want to look for your subject, which also, not your subject, my bad, your verb, anything about it like prepositions or indirect objects or any of that, which we don't have. It's a fairly simple sentence. So we just have love. So I, and then this is just BAME, because it's conjugated with a single subject. And then you have the city. In Lasagnage we don't use the or anything, so it's just city. And city, as we just talked about, is tebdin. And so the phrase I love the city in Lasagnage becomes za bema tebdin. Alright, well, let's say you want to do some more complex stuff. Try the phrase, the angry man can anger the city. And so, if we wanted to take this phrase and translate it, this has substantially more parts to it than I love the city. So let's start translating it. So if you think about our subject word, we'll take notes over here so we don't forget. Our subject word not only has the subject, it also has the adjectives for the subject. It's got the subject. Actually, let's color code everything. So if you look at this, let's do primary colors. So our subject, and our subject word does not only include the subject, subject is just the main part. It also includes the subject of the sentence, in this case, man. It includes adjectives. Alright. Also includes adjectives, so in this case, angry. And it includes any modal verbs. In this case, can. And so therefore, the top part, or the first word of our sentence, will include angry, man, and can. Now if we want to do this, the adjective angry in Lasagnage is methyl. And then our subject here, man, is van. And then can is buth-eich, and since this is the modal verb in the subject block of syllables, it is in infinitive form. So it is buth-eich. So the angry man can turns into Mathil van Buthé. Then, if you want to do your verb, in this case the only verb we have is anger. We don't have any indirect object. We don't have any tenses or prepositions or adverbs. So it's just anger, which in this case is the same syllable base as angry, math, but instead of having the adjective ending, we have the verb ending conjugated with the subject, man, so it's one singular, so that becomes matha. So we go and write that out. And then for the last part, for our object, we only have a direct object. And in that case, it is the city, or in this case, just city, because as I said before, the and a are not used in our language. And so then city, as we have talked about before, is Teb Din. And so there, if you wish to translate the angry man can anger the city, you get Mathil van Buthek Matha Tebden. And that is one of the first few sentences we will translate, and hopefully a good beginning into what the basis of our grammatical structure is. Hopefully that helped, and if not, let me know, because I am very bad at this, I assume. So, thank you. Hopefully that helped you a bit, and next week we can start going more in depth and reviewing the system.